I just recorded this whole thing with the record button off. So let me try it again, recording. Okay. We start in the presentation. Those are the weather warfare sites around the world mapped out by one of the experts on the subject. And this is an animation with a couple things bouncing in, like kill a banker, win a prize. So let's see how long this will record for. That's my site name, PortlandHomeboy.com. And shut up, Portland Homeboy, be happy. And then poor Portland Homeboy loses his bitches. So I love that curtain effect. It helps focus on the wordy slides, and it's kind of fun to watch. So the resistance in Portland has battled canoes out to blockade oil tankers. Portland has the highest car theft and murder and tax rates. To join a gang in North or Southeast Portland, you must murder somebody. When the Antifa left Portland and went outskirts of the city, they were set on fire. They were caught setting fires to homes and farms that were shot and put through wood chippers. A very true story. Trump. Da-da-da-da-da. Trump. The subject of YouTube's for the next 2 years. Don't tread on me. Sound familiar? Know the feeling? Okay. Who's the judge assigned to Trump's case? Oh, gee, she was a lawyer at Bush-Schiller when Hunter Biden was a lawyer there, too. Oh, gee, she represented Burisma. Oh, gee, she represented Hillary's Fusion GPS, who came up with the fake Trump-Russia dossier hoax. So that's his judge. No one said that. Well, one person said it, or I wouldn't know it. So, okay. Gavin Newsom's his father was the bag man to pay off when Pope John III was kidnapped. I wouldn't say there's any mafia connections anywhere, would you? Gavin Newsom's too big for his britches. Strip joints and massage parlors line major streets in Portland, and drugs are legal. Young men bring their girlfriends into strip parlors. Our fentanyl is 100 times more potent than morphine. Portland's a boarded-up ghost town in a cesspool. Stop Newsom's ego from presidential aspirations. Wonder Woman's going to cut his dick off, basically. We don't want no education. Leave our kids alone. We don't want no education. Hey, who's this? Who could this be? IMF military bases, 750 bases, 80 countries. Replace guns with dildos? We love Kamala as much as you do. Meet Kamala's family. This is the public parades, the S&M parades in San Francisco by the constituency that put in Pelosi, Harris, Feinstein, and Newsom. Well, who is this constituency? It appears to be a bunch of alternative lifestyle people running around, but guess what it is? Well, here's Californication swallows U.S. politics. Well, surprise, surprise, Schroeder Bank funds its subsidiary Bechtel, who's groomed all the San Francisco politicians. Schroeder Bank also financed its director's interlocking directorship, financed Hitler. So that's a little slide like that. My favorite transition. We're at 5 minutes so far. Get to know Kamala's family. Oh boy, oh boy. Okay. There's her family. Her daughter worked on 2 of Hillary's campaigns. And there's her husband, Doug Emhoff. He's an attorney and partner at DLA Piper. Oh, what? What do I mean? He has links to Smartmatic and Dominion voting systems. Wait a minute. Smartmatic CEO and founder will serve as CEO while Lord Mark Malloch Brown, Deputy Secretary of the UN. Oh well. There's a comic relief element. I think one can also mount videos in the presentation, but I don't think it's too much, I think. I don't think it'll. So here's 8,000 to 10,000 suspected fraudulent registrations delivered in Milwaukee, and the Milwaukee Attorney General documents it and has the police reports that she buried. What? Fake voting? Wasn't this what kept Trump from being elected? Podesta bloodbath. Podesta has been advisor to the last 4 or 5 presidents, ran Hillary's campaign, and they do, fake blood sacrifices with real blood. So when they busted the fake voter registration house, they found guns with silencers, bags of prepaid phone cards. So it's criminal bribery operation. Here's my little bounce along girl. Creating artificial earthquakes, another one of the subjects we go into. As I say, there's about 5 or 6 different subjects. Here's a Secretary of Defense saying how they use sound waves to set off earthquakes and volcano eruptions, tidal waves. All the current weather you're seeing is artificial. It's not natural. It's man-made and woman-made weather warfare. So here's an example of a lightning strike, perhaps a laser-directed lightning strike. Laser-guided lightning, and I'm having trouble finding my documentation for that. And China apparently, when Pelosi went to Taiwan against their wishes, sent lightning. They killed 4 people across the street from the White House and injured 3 more. There's a laser-directed lightning facsimile. Also, the U.S. used the laser to blow up the oil depot in Cuba. That picture with the 54 Chevy that's the new cars in Cuba are from 1954. This is documentation for the ionospheric heaters and the Elfin waves, which are low frequency, which blow up the hearing of whales and dolphins and give people nightmares, and are used to set off the earthquakes. A global government will protect against apocalyptic weather. There's Klaus Schwab and Soros, who finance this shit, representing the bankers. This is in Washington, above us, a couple hundred miles, is the center where they send off these low frequency waves that are psychotronic. You hear the people in the military talking about them being controlled by vibrations. That's what it is. The darn Chinese spy satellite flew over all the secret nuclear and weather warfare sites. Chernobyl, there's a body of evidence it was CIA sabotage using weather modification. Climate lockdowns are coming. No more debates necessary. Schwab's daughter. War is peace. Freedom is slavery. Fukushima, also I've got the measurements for the earthquake fault being heated, the ionosphere. DARPA. Forest fire is a military weapon. 1970. Went around the United States and the world showing how to set forest fires due to different climatic variations and moisture contents and dryness contents. Northern California, Lake County, the most selective forest fire in history because it burned down the houses but not the trees. That's why people suspect lasers, such as the fire marshal, who's a decorated war military vet, and he saw the blue light from the lasers every place. We flipped to Maui, the Maui firestorms. Lahaina, the houses are all burnt down. It's just a sample picture. And there's 12 vids, 16 vids that finger the people who are being presented as being responsible. Although Jim, who's the weather warfare expert, says it wasn't the lasers, it was an artificially created low pressure area that made the fire so bad. It was a backdraft. So the fires would blow forward, then they'd pull it back, then blow forward, then they'd pull it back. Directed energy weapons are last on my list. The high pressure ridge right there is at the top of my list. It's the top of my list. How many times do I have to tell you? It's not a laser, get over it. And the artificially high pressure zone is what everybody should be thinking about. The weather warfare. That's a major cause of the fire, the backdraft. So the fire would blow through, then be pulled back, go around in circles. Now there's a pattern in Canada, Italy, and all over the world. Arsonists have been arrested for causing these big fires. The utility companies are in collusion with arsonists to forward the globalist one world government pooch. And he refers to that as disaster capitalism. Translated, that means never let a good crisis go to waste, especially one you manufacture. Let's take a look at this judge again, assigned to Trump's election case. Who the fuck is she? Well, my favorite transition. There she is, little devil herself. She should recuse herself, whatever it's called. She was an attorney at Boy Schiller when Hunter Biden was too. She represented Burisma. She represented Hillary's Fusion GPS, who invented the fake Russian dossier. That's the judge. Okay, so then I go into what's really going on here is the Republic of the United States versus United States Corporation. So there's a coup after the Civil War, a financial coup, I don't know what you'd call it, and they invented a dummy corporation which is now running the U.S. It's not the Republic, which I explain later in greater detail, or attempt to, right here as a matter of fact. Confessions of a January 6th rioter. So it's a history, it's wordy, and people can stop the YouTube and read it if they want to be educated, or they could remain stupid sheeple. What do you think's going to happen? Okay, so let me advance these artificially. There's 5 slides, 13 points. Push button age, and they're the weather warfare sites. Only a few of them are weather warfare sites, but they all work together. There ain't no voter fraud. It's Russian disinformation. Georgia seals the evidence of the voting machine fraud. Breach, I mean. They don't want to let the information out because it could influence the way people think. So it's been under sealed for 2 years. That you can penetrate. This is all stuff Sidney Powell said 3 years ago, 4 years ago, whatever. But now it's like digging up history. Center for Disease Control thinks unvaccinated whites should be replaced with vaccinated border jumpers. So we're into 15 minutes already, and this is more the fellow was funded by the Democrats and other organizations, give him $11 million. So he had a syndicate in 20 states where they did fake voter registration. They got busted because when they took 10,000 of the forms into Michigan, the clerk saw all the handwriting was the same. So upon investigation and raiding the home, it turns out this guy, Gary Bell, was responsible. 70 operations in 20 states, $11 million budget. There ain't no voter fraud. $11 million. Operations in 20 states, 70 operations. Remember, at the one site they busted, they found automatic weapons with silencers in bags full of money cards. So again, this is a guide to my website, which means I probably have to redo the whole fucking website in this order, which I don't really feel like doing right now. I don't have that much time left in my life. The cover-up goes all the way to the FBI. What a surprise. They stopped all the investigations. They're letting the statute of limitations expire, which is 5 years. Simpsons on Trump. Voting machines are not rigged, for Christ's sake. Oh, there's a patent on the fake voting machines. I mean, there's patents on them. Yeah, the Army owns them. Then they assigned them to a consultant to George Herbert Walker Bush's military defense company. So these are just stuff people can read it if they feel like it. I stopped the video. It's the evidence. None of the evidence has been heard in court. When they say Trump was turned down by 20 judges, all of them would not look at the evidence. So I'm sure they won't look at it this time either. So this is just, you can't make this stuff up, folks. Don't tread on me. You ever feel like they're restricting your freedom? The country was founded to protect you and me from them. Now, John Podesta, Hillary's handler and Bill Clinton's handler and the last consultant to the last 4 or 5 presidents, likes to collect kitty S&M. I don't know if it's kitty porn or not. It depends what you'd call it. That's his hobby. He's one of the Pizzagate primaries and one of the most powerful people in Washington. And this is some of his brother's artwork up on the walls of his brother's house. Whoops, no transition. His brother has Jeffrey Dahmer was a mass killer who cut off the heads of his victims and put them in poses and took photographs. And Podesta's brother, who got $300,000 from Russia for Hillary giving Russia 20% of U.S. uranium, which was the real Russian collusion. He hangs the corpse, facsimile from the ceiling. He just thinks S&M and human sacrifice and drinking blood and kitty porn is the cat's meow. And it should be because they're blackmailing all the politicians they drug and get involved in that stuff. This is just scrap. This is scrap. This is artwork he collects. He's not gonna, that's him and his wife. That circled area is actually a guy with an axe to cut off people's heads. And you notice the heads are missing from all the work overall. It's quite a sense of humor this guy has. Here's another fake voting machine, the patent for it. You can sit in any cafe, any place in the world, or in your car and input votes and throw good votes out and put bad votes in. That's the patents for this that don't exist. On 9/11, George Herbert Walker Bush was with Osama's brother, and their meeting was interrupted by the World Trade Center being blown up. Now, the meeting was from Carlyle Group, which is the group, the fake voting machine patents, the consultant had. He was a consultant to Carlyle Group, if you're getting my drift. Okay, what's next here? Depopulation should be the highest priority of foreign policy towards the third world. Oh, yeah, that's a quote from Henry Kissinger. Let's start with you, Henry. Soros, Rockefeller, and someone else, they like depopulation. They make money depopulating. It's called war. Propaganda groups, nuclear safe and clean. Okay, so it goes on and on. This is just scrap. It's not organized yet. Finally organized. It's just collected. So anyway, that looks... Okay, that's about it. Yeah, here we are back in the beginning. The only thing not in here is the nuclear pictures of the animals and the sea life destroyed and the people mutated and rotting and the animals being suffering and smothering and drowning and being burnt alive by fallout, being dumped into the ocean. And here we are back at the beginning, 22 minutes, 15 subjects, 150 slides at least, into 5 presentations, so one big presentation.